When we think about Halloween, specifically movies, we think of the modern classics to the classics, to Halloween, to The Mummy, to Nightmare on Elm Street, to The Creatures Among Us. But there is one creature that stands above the rest, one that is synonymous with Halloween, one that is synonymous with horror. Dracula. Spawning many different types of mediums, from books to movies to video games to just TV shows. Even his son, Alucard, has made a pretty big statement, thinking from the Castlevania series. But there is one creature that's lost in the shadows, one that refuses to be lost in the annals of time itself. Dracula's daughter, Countess Maria Zaleska. Spawning a movie in 1936, Dracula's Daughter was a sequel to Dracula, the 1935. Written by Bram Stoker, this movie is about the Countess trying to break free from Dracula's curse. The movie starts off with the actual ending to Dracula, where finally the cops show up but accuse Van Helsing of both murdering Dracula and Dracula's servant. Upon transporting both of them, both the bodies and Van Helsing, one of the cops waits to guard basically the bodies. One goes on patrol. This is where you first meet the captivating, mysterious, beautiful, uncomfortable sense of the Countess Maria Zaleska. This scene perfectly encapsulates how creepy she can be, how uncomfortable she can be. She mesmerizes the guard, takes Dracula's body, and burns it.
Unto Adonai and Azrael, into the keeping of the lords of the flame and lower pits, I consign this body to be forevermore consumed in this purging fire. Let all baleful spirits that threaten the souls of men be banished by the sprinkling of this salt.
Which is super awkward for a family reunion, but okay. So aside from that, she finally feels free, but her assistant Xandor thinks differently. She plays this music that she learned by her mother. She's playing on the piano.
No, you're right.
That music tells of the dark, evil things, shadowy places. Stop!
Then suddenly stops. And she goes to feed on her victim. On the other side of things, Van Helsing has asked his old student Jeffrey and his assistant Janet for help on the case to make him seem sane, but also prove his innocence. He agrees, and like what all lawyers do when they agree to a case, they go to a party that has nothing to do with it. He meets the Countess there. The Countess takes a sudden interest in him and even asks him to go see her because she needs help. With Janet being a little bit jealous, he still goes. He then proceeds to ask what's wrong. What is it? She said that she feels like she's being controlled from beyond the grave. That she's just being controlled, and these dark, evil thoughts and these shadows are creeping around her, blinding her to do awful, awful things. But she does get interrupted by a phone call, by a prank from Janet, and then by another call from someone that needs his attention elsewhere. When he goes, he does leave off the Countess with a little bit of advice. Confront your addiction. Be in the same room with it. Try to fight it. Try to use willpower to get away from it. Try to overpower it with just your will alone. She takes the challenge. She brings somebody home, and she keeps staring at her, getting more and more hungry, getting more and more of these dark, evil thoughts creeping inside her head.
Please don't come any closer.
Then she fails the task and ends up feeding her. Besides that, after these reports come in of all these missing people, Van Helsing thinks that it could be a vampire on the loose. Not only that, they suspect to be the Countess to be the problem. The Countess goes to see Jeffrey one more time and says that she plans to leave this place, and she wants him to go with her. Jeffrey wants the Countess to basically confess to what she's done, confess to what exactly she needs help with. She remains silent, and he says that he has to leave to go see her latest victim, which he doesn't know is her yet. She decides to stay there to try and think of a way that he will go with her. She decides to kidnap Janet, who they both seem to fall in love with Jeffrey. So she ends up taking Janet, kidnapping her, taking her to Transylvania, to Dracula's castle. Upon realizing that, she basically convinces Jeff to basically go to Transylvania to Dracula's castle. Upon doing that, he travels all the way over to Transylvania. Sandor asks, what does the Countess want to do with him? Why is she even going through this trouble? She basically says that she wants to be with him for eternity. She wants to be vampires together. Eternal love. Sandor hates this idea. He was promised to be immortal, and he's going to get it. So he plans to kill Jeffrey. And doing a very similar Home Alone-esque type of thing, he tries to kill Jeffrey with an arrow from atop of the castle. He misses. Jeffrey goes inside. He finds the Countess. He says he'll exchange his life for Janet's, showing a proof of love. Just as he's about to do it, just as he's about to become immortal, Sandor shoots an arrow, misses Jeffrey, and fatally wounds the Countess. The Countess falls, goes to the balcony, and is dead. Right when Sandor tries to take another shot, the cops come, they shoot him, and it turns out that they saved Jeffrey and Janet. The final scene is the body of the Countess. The poor, misfortunate thing that tried to overcome her addictions, but ended up getting swallowed by it, by her choices being self-destruction. This movie is fantastic. This movie sets the tone for a lot of people even now. This is a person getting swallowed up, a person getting bounded, getting creeped in by the shadows, getting overtaken and enveloped by the darkness. This biggest fear that we all could have is our choices could lead to self-destruction. And that is the biggest fear we all have.